Hello, children and everyone. First of all, I need to tell you that these are some of my own questions, and I know tomorrow is the exam, and today I'm doing this video, and this is just to help you with some of my own questions that I came up with from different chapters in the IGCSE 91 book. Let's start. What's the difference between embedded computing and physical computing? Give two applications. Well, embedded computing, as it sounds, it is where these programs are embedded into the microchip, right? And an application would be where robotic arms would be doing the same, the monotonous work in production plants. Where they might be doing, moving things and lifting and arranging, packaging and things like that. So they are stationary, they are not moving. So that's embedded computing. Physical computing, well, that also involves programs written into microchips like ROM chips. But here, physical means it takes readings from the environment. So it needs to have sensors, and based on the sense data, it will react to the environment. So this involves moving robots, like used in bomb disposal and exploration, right? They react to the environment conditions, right? Identify two accessibility features of smartphones. Well, accessibility means allowing everybody to use the computer system, and smartphones, having an on-screen keyboard to voice control activity, like with a voice assistant, are examples of accessibility features. And then one-touch operation and many other customization options like themes, they all come under accessibility features, right? List two features of smartphones related to convergence. Now, convergence is when devices develop in technology, they adapt each other's functions, and ultimately we cannot differentiate the two devices. For example, the digital camera and camcorder. So this process is called, this effect is called convergence. Two features of smartphones related to convergence. Well, having the camera facility, high-end camera in a smartphone is one such, because it's related to camera, but now it has in the smartphone. Then what about the game console feature? Smartphone acts as a portable or handheld game console. That's also related to convergence. How does frame rate affect the video? Well, frame rate is how many the number of frames played per second, which is measured in FPS. So when there are when the frame rate is high, the video would be smoother, right? It won't stutter, it won't jump. Similarly, if the frame rate is low, you will have this stutter effect, jumping effect. And basically, more frame rate, higher the frame rate is, smoother the video. And that's why super slow motion videos are really smooth, because they take huge amounts of frames, and they're played at very high frame rate, and also it has so much of frames. Well, if you store more frames, that means it's going to take up a lot of memory. Yes, that's correct. But the quality of the video would be dependent on the number of pixels a frame is made up. A display measures 1,600 pixels in width and 1,200 pixels in height. Write an expression to calculate the total number of pixels in the screen is made of. Well, if you take like this, the screen, okay, and if this is 1,600 px, and if this is 1200 px, well, the total number of pixels that the screen is made up of can be measured by multiplying these two values, 1600 into 1200. Okay, so you don't really need to calculate the total, just get the expression. Right. What's the difference between set-top box and PVR? Well, set-top box is a device which converts the satellite signals or the data signals into visual output on a TV screen. And PVR, personal video recorder, is usually built into the set-top box that can record these programs, TV programs. So the difference is set-top box converts the signals and PVR records the converted signals. What is IoT, and describe an example of IoT? Well, IoT, Internet of Things. Now, normally in Internet we have computers, servers and other network devices, but here in this concept we have other electronic devices such as household appliances, electronic appliances. They will also be part of the Internet, and they will be sending data to each other, recording, exchanging, and then they'll be uploading data, like sensors will be uploading data to cloud services, and we will be able to control these devices from anywhere in the world through internet connection. What is meant by virtual memory? Why can SSD be better option than the HDD for virtual memory? Well, when the RAM runs out in the computer, when the RAM is used, because the operating system uses RAM, open programs uses RAM, user data and all the background process, they use RAM. When the computer runs out of RAM, it takes some amount of memory from the hard disk, which is permanent storage. And hard disk has moving parts, so it's going to be really slow. RAM is really fast, and the idea of having a RAM is then the processor can read data faster than accessing from the hard disk. So if the virtual memory is taken from a hard disk, there won't be much change in the speed. But SSD, solid state drive, is flash memory. It does not have any moving parts, so access times are high, so it will be utilized with the virtual memory, and the overall speed will be higher than using HDD. Right, two advantages and two disadvantages of virtual stores. Well, virtual store is a place where you don't really have physical products, but you have pictures of them. Pictures, and along with the pictures you have the QR code, so that you can use an app in the phone to scan these QR codes and place an order. So these items will be delivered to your doorstep. So advantages, well, it's convenient. These are especially in public places, so while you are waiting for your bus or train, you can shop. It's convenient because they get delivered to your doorstep. Well, disadvantage would be like you can't check the quality of the product, so it's just the picture. You don't know whether it's expired or not, whether it's good quality condition, especially food items and things like that. And also like there can be fraud, like stealing personal information, like payments issues, like payment frauds, right? Because unlike other stores, like where you have a physical person, and also this is a new concept, so we may not be able to trust every store. So and it takes time to get delivered, so there are disadvantages like that. What's the difference between accessibility and usability? Give an example. Well, accessibility is allowing everybody to access the computer system, For example, if it is a website, well, accessibility mainly looks at disabled people, but if you say accessible, that means I am able to use it, right? So accessibility, for example, if you have a navigation in a website, and that navigation maybe look really beautiful, elegant, but it has full of many options, and when you can somehow go through the navigation and access different web pages. But if it is taking time to get your work done, and if you get stranded when you go down in the navigation, it's not going to be a usable one. So usability is how effective and how fast the work can be done by you. So that's the difference between accessibility and usability. Write 2 applications of RFID and NFC. RFID is radio frequency identification, NFC is near field communication. Both these technologies are wireless standards, radio wireless standards. RFID works at a certain distance and than NFC. NFC has to be at close proximity. Normally NFC devices establish the connection by tapping each other, and both are used to transfer some kind of identification data to a reader. Application wise, RFID is found in warehouses. The goods are tagged like large containers, and the RFID is used to trace and to perform stock control. On the other hand, RFID also used for identification, recording attendance, and even finding out where your exact location in company premises. Then NFC is mainly used for payments. These touch cards, they use NFC payments, the Visa card, and it's mainly for payments and also for identification, as well as attendance recording, and also to change settings in your phone. NFC tags can be used depending on how you want to use. Why 2 differences between printer and plotter? Well, printer prints bitmap graphics, while the plotter prints vector graphics, and the plotter usually uses pens, lines and shapes to create vector graphics, while the printer uses ink and toner cartridges. Some plotters use toner as well, but the drawing mechanism is mathematical, right? And some plotters can be connected with a cutter device, so that it can be used to cut stencils, and especially in the clothing industry you can produce lots of items because the cutter which is connected to the plotter creates these samples or stencils or parts of these clothing at a very high rate, and reduces human hours, working hours, labor. These 2 features to look at when selecting a data projector. Well, data projector or multimedia projector has a bulb, and it has an intensity which is measured in lumens. Higher the lumens value, better the output, the intensity. So you need to look at the lumens value. That's how bright the bulb is. And then there's a lifetime for the bulb, so you have to look at that as well. Then one of the important things is the resolution of the projector, and if it doesn't support you won't be able to get a good output. Then apart from that, the weight of the projector is also matters, and so on, right? Briefly describe backward compatibility with an example. Well, compatible means like if a technology is run on a particular platform, and if the platform supports that technology, we say it's compatible. Right? For example, the CD is compatible with a DVD drive. Okay, and Blu-ray is not compatible with the PC. You need a Blu-ray reader or a writer or a player. Backward compatibility means if a new technology still supports an old technology, that is called backward compatibility. For example, CD is still supported by DVD. You can run CD in a DVD. Backward compatibility. USB 2 can be used with USB 3. Backward compatibility. Explain why magnetic tape can be idle to backup data but not suitable for real-time systems. Well, magnetic tapes provide the largest storage capacities, hundreds of terabytes, because of their surface area, and ideal to be backed up because it provides huge capacities. But for a real-time system where you need to read and write data really fast, and if something goes wrong you need to restore the data immediately, provided that magnetic tape has serial or sequential access, which is very slow compared to direct access, is not ideal for a real-time system. How many CDs needed to hold the content of Blu-ray of 50 gigabytes? So now we use gigabytes. The standard is GB, and it goes in 1024. So it's a small calculation. You take 50. This is the standard. We start with capital G, simple I, and capital B. This has to be divided by the capacity of a CD. Capacity of a CD is 700 MB. The rough calculation is more than enough. This is megabyte. Okay, so this has to be converted into megabyte. So multiply this by 1024. Sorry about my drawing. Okay, let it do that. Okay, this will give you megabyte. So let's cross these. Okay, let's take 0 by 10. Okay, so this will come as 510 divided by 7. So you have 7, 49, 20, 2 point. Those are 72 point something, right? And here also I left out 0.4, and here also you have something somewhat more, and the whole number is 72, so we can take it as 73 to store the rest as well. So we need 73 CDs to represent the capacity of a Blu-ray, which is 50 gigabits per second. 50 gigabytes earlier, but now it's called gigabyte. 50 gigabyte Blu-ray content will be stored in 73 CDs, where one CD consists of 700 megabytes of capacity. Right, that's it. That's about the digital devices. Let's meet in the next video with software.